Okay, so here are 3 quick and easy to learn study skills that can help you to improve your English more quickly. And the first of those study skills focuses on the use of something called a learning diary, something like this. So the chances are, if you're studying English in a college or you're studying English in a community learning environment, your tutor has probably given you a journal or a diary like this. And this is a place for you to record the progress that you've made and to make a note of those things that you're still struggling to master. In addition to this, it's likely that your tutor has written down for you your individual learning goals. So these are aspects of your learning that you individually, rather than as part of the class, need to focus on. So an individual learning goal for you could be the correct use of apostrophes in your writing, the correct use of paragraphs in writing, or it could be a reading skill or a speaking and listening skill. For the moment, we're going to focus on writing. So it might be that in your learning diary, as one of your individual learning goals, your tutor has asked you to focus on the correct use of commas when you're separating items in a list. How can you learn to master this skill over the duration of your course? Well, one way you can do it is that whenever you next do a piece of writing, you can remind yourself of that individual learning goal, the commas one, and you can make it your focus throughout that piece of writing. So perhaps at the top of the page, a little note to yourself: I'm going to focus on using commas correctly to separate items in a list. And when you're doing your piece of work, make that your focus. Now, that doesn't mean that you forget all about correct spelling or punctuation, but it means your particular focus is using commas. And you might find that you need to keep this focus on commas for 2 or 3 or 4 pieces of writing, but slowly over time you'll notice that this is becoming easier for you. You're beginning to master this skill because you've really drilled down and focused on it, and it's time for you to move on and focus on a new individual learning goal. So our second study skill is how to incorporate new vocabulary in your writing. Now, often in an English class, your tutor or another of the learners in the class may use a word that's unfamiliar to you. Now, it could be a word that you've never heard before and you've got no idea what it means, or it could be a word that you've heard a couple of times but you're not quite sure of the correct meaning. Or it could be a word that you know and recognise but you never use. It's just not part of your vocabulary. Now, most of us, when we're writing, we tend to use the same words over and over again. So it can be really satisfying to expand your horizons slightly, move a little bit out of your comfort zone and start to use new and unfamiliar words to expand your vocabulary and the way you express yourself in your writing. So the next time somebody in your class uses a word that you don't know, that you'd like to learn and acquire and use, take out your spelling and vocabulary book and write down at the back of the book the new word, and of course make sure you spelled it correctly, and write it alongside its meaning. Now, in this vocabulary book we've got 3 new words. We've got the words initiative, and the definition means to do something independently. We've also got the word brainwash, and that means to make somebody believe something by repeatedly telling them it's true. And we've got the word radicalize, which means to cause a person to believe extreme ideas. Next time then you're doing a piece of writing, have your vocabulary book open in front of you to the new words, and as you're writing, see if you can incorporate some of these new words in your piece of writing. Now, of course, if you're writing a leaflet advertising a car boot sale, it's probably unlikely that you're going to get the word radicalize in there. So do make sure that the word is appropriate to its context and you're not just shoving it in there as a way of using new words. So finally, let's have a look at spelling. And like with vocabulary, the very best way to get a handle on those words that you know you struggle to spell or your tutor's indicated that you get wrong repeatedly is to record them, to write them down in your spelling and vocab book. And when you've got an idle moment, maybe you've arrived a little bit early to class or you've finished a piece of classwork and you're waiting for the tutor to come around and look at it, or for other learners to catch up with you, rather than just twiddling your thumbs or looking on your phone, take out your spelling book and go through a handful of spellings that you struggle with. Perhaps 3 a week would be enough for you. You can use a technique like the look, say, write, cover, check spelling technique, which is pretty useful at improving your spelling. And that way you're using idle moments to improve your spelling. It's a good idea too, a bit like with vocabulary, have your spelling book open in front of you when you're doing a piece of writing. So when you come to one of those words that often trips you up, you can refer to the correct spelling in your spelling book to make sure you get it right. It's like your own little personal dictionary of words that give you a bit of a headache. So although these 3 study skills are fairly small, they can make a big difference to how quickly and how effectively you improve your English. So why not give them a go?